The prospect widget is commonly used as part of a Contact Us form for clients who are interested in your services but haven't committed to making a purchase. When a client fills out the form, a prospect account is created within MindBody, and a notification email is sent to your business. By using this widget, you're opening a funnel for new clients and creating opportunities to follow up with the accounts the prospect widget creates to show soon-to-be clients what your business has to offer. When a prospective client goes to your website and fills out the form, the prospect widget collects their contact information and gathers the data that you'll need to provide them with a good experience when you contact them back. In this tutorial, we're going to set up the prospect widget and go over the options available to customize it. When we're finished, you'll have a widget that directly interacts with MindBody's prospect cycle features, so you can execute the first touchpoint with a would-be client seamlessly. To get started, let's make sure that we're logged into the branded web manager. Then, click the Widgets menu at the top of the screen. Choose the Create New Widget button, and since we're going to build out a place for prospects to enter in their contact information, click on Prospect from the drop-down menu. The Prospect widget has 3 sections that we're going to focus on: the description, the widget's appearance, and advanced options. The description allows us to name the widget and set the parameters for the format. The appearance section is where we'll add colors and styling to match your branding. Meanwhile, the advanced options section is where we can really start to have fun with the options and personalize that first contact experience. Let's start at the top and work our way down. In the description section, let's name our prospect widget something that will help us identify and distinguish it from the other widgets. Don't worry about giving it a clever name, because your clients won't see it. It's just to help you get organized. Next, choose which view you prefer the widget to have: compact or side-by-side. The compact view will have the text that labels each text field inside the text fields themselves, while the stacked view moves the field labels and displays them next to each entry field. Next, we'll set up a notification to you or your staff that's automatically sent each time the prospect widget is completed. At least one email address is required to finish building the widget, and you can enter up to 3 different email addresses. Let's move on to the appearance section, where we'll set up what the widget looks like. The next option is the button text, where you can edit what the word Submit on the button will say. You can use words like Send, Request, or Contact. Let's take a look at the base style option. To make things easier to implement, our developers have designed a widget that tends to appeal to most audiences, and we call it the default style. You can still choose your own colors, but things like border sizing and spacing of the elements in the widget are hard-coded in. If that suits your needs, go ahead and leave the default style selected. The other option in base style is No Styling. This removes all styling from the widget and should only be selected when you or your developer wish to customize the widget with your own CSS code. The field below Base Style is where you or your developer can enter in the code to further customize your prospect widget and change things like font styles and border sizes. If you're not familiar with CSS coding language or don't have a developer, it's best to leave this field blank. Next up is selecting the colors that will display on your prospect widget. In this widget, you can change the color of the text field labels by using the text box and enter the hex codes here. If you haven't determined a color that you want to use yet, clicking on the box will automatically display a color wheel, where you can select the color in the circle. Then, choose the hue and vibrance using the square. To close the color wheel, click anywhere on your screen. You've finished setting up the appearance of your widget. The Advanced Options section is next. This is the place to create specific information requirements for clients, or to create consistency between your widget and your MindBody site by reflecting the requirements on your core site. Some of the options in this section require some knowledge of MindBody terminology and how the software functions. For example, we're going to talk about client indexes, custom fields, and prospect fields over the next couple of minutes. Since the prospect widget uses client indexes that you set up in your MindBody site to gather information about prospective clients, If you're not familiar with these topics or don't have them set up in your MindBody software, check out the links on client indexes, custom fields, and prospect fields below the tutorial window for directions on how to set up these features in your MindBody site before you continue setting up the prospect widget. Have all your indexes and fields set up in your MindBody site? Let's grab them from your site by clicking Get Client Indexes from MindBody. Next, we're going to customize each index to suit the needs of the prospect widget by setting the mode, that is, which indexes are displayed to clients on the widget. And we're also going to select a default value, which will autofill in common answers to save clients time when filling out the form. Let's look at the client index, primary reason for visiting. We can select the down arrow to display the mode options. We have Show and Don't Require, which means that the question will show up on the widget, but clients can choose not to answer if they don't want to. Show and Require, where clients will see the question and will have to provide an answer before moving on. Hide and Use, which is where clients won't know that the question is there, but will set up a default answer that is automatically filled in on your MindBody site. This is good to use if you have a subset of people that you're targeting, and you want to be able to do reporting on that group. For example, if you're promoting your website, anyone who signs up through the prospect widget will be assigned an index value, and you can use reporting in your core software to send them marketing materials. Lastly, Hide and Don't Use, which will exclude the index from the widget altogether. At the prospect stage, a would-be new client might not have decided if they're going to be a patron of your business yet, but if we invited them to come down for a tour of the studio, it could help them decide if they're interested in signing up. So when we ask, "Would you like a studio tour?" for that index, we can select Show and Require. Now we'll select from the available answers and the default value drop-down list. If we want answers to be autofilled to Yes, but still enable clients to opt out by selecting No Thanks instead. Go through each client index listed and select a mode and a default value for each. Then meet us at the next advanced option, Custom Fields. We're going to retrieve the custom fields from your MindBody site, similarly to the way that we got our client indexes. In the Custom Fields option, click Get Custom Fields from MindBody. Then we'll start at the top of the list and work our way down by clicking the down arrow next to each custom field and selecting whether each custom field should be hidden on the widget, shown on the widget but an answer isn't required, or if a custom field is shown and if an answer is required to move on. By configuring the Prospect Fields section, you'll tell the widget which pieces of contact information are most important to collect. You can set each of the fields as Required, Not Required, which is a question that will show up as optional for the prospect to fill in, or the last option, which is Don't Show, and that will eliminate that field from the widget altogether. The next option is the Comment field. Check the box to allow clients to leave you notes or suggestions while they're on the prospect widget. If you keep this feature enabled, you can look to the field just below the checkbox titled Field Name and label the content section something that aligns with your brand's voice and style. The next two options are the Account Management email and SMS opt-in, and the News and Promos email and SMS opt-in. These two options control whether your clients can receive reminders and other auto emails or texts from MindBody pertaining to their account, or promotions from your business. Although, it's best to consider what your privacy laws are, where you're located, and make the decision to enable these options or not accordingly. The Thank You page URL is a great feature where you can create a customized website page that has "Thanks for contacting us" message on it, and the widget will automatically send clients there after they click the Submit button. Another application for this is to insert the URL for your online store, so as soon as prospective clients register, they can browse your products and services. If this feature is useful to you, go ahead and enter a website address for the Thank You page URL field. Otherwise, go ahead and leave it blank. Okay, we've taken care of the content of the prospect widget. Let's add a header image or your logo and add some text that tells clients how to get started. To add the header image, click Choose File. Find the image among your computer files and click Open. Go ahead and edit the header text to suit your style. Perfect! Now, each widget can be translated into English, French, German, or Spanish in order to effectively reach your target audience. Select the language to display on the widget using the drop-down menu. You've completed your prospect widget setup. Let's check out how it works. Click Preview Widget at the bottom of the page to open a new tab. The widget information will load, and you'll notice that everything on the page is fully interactive, just like it will be when it's live on your website. Let's create a prospective client account using the Prospect Widget preview, and then log into our MindBody site to see how the widget transfers information into your software. We'll add our personal information, make our selections for client indexes and custom fields, add any notes that we want the business to know in the comments section, and lastly, set our notification preferences. After clicking Submit, the information is added to your MindBody site, and our new prospect account is created. To see it, open a new tab and go to your MindBody site. Log in as an admin or a staff member. In your MindBody site, use Search or jump to a client on the left and enter the name of the client that you just created. Select it when it appears. On their client account page, click Profile. Then expand the following sections on the client profile page to see where the information from the prospect widget went. Edit name, contact, address, client indexes, other custom fields, and notes. As you can see, everything we entered on the prospect widget now has its proper place on the client profile screen that's easy access for you and your staff. Lastly, you should expect an auto email from MindBody letting you know that you have a new prospect. If everything looks good with the prospect widget, go back to the Branded Web Manager tab where you're editing your prospect widget settings. Click Save and Deploy to keep your changes. A new page will load and give you the opportunity to copy the code to place on your website. We'll cover how to do that in a later tutorial. To create another widget, click on the Widgets menu at the top of the screen. The Prospect widget creates an open doorway for you to welcome new clients in. By adding the Prospect widget to your website, you've just made yours and your staff's jobs a little easier and gave potential clients an effortless way to contact your business. Thanks for following along today. Join us for the next tutorial to learn more about branded web tools. See you there.